Hello, fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deluxe Class Micronus Prime from the Transformers Age of the Primes line from Hasbro. Micronus Prime is one of the 13, as you can see there on the box. We have some nice artwork of his Minicon mode here, and then kind of bursting out of the larger mech suit, as well as the vehicle mode here. Some nice artwork of that. Well, it's pretty much the same artwork from the front, but blown up a little bit larger here on the side. And then we have our slice of the ring of the 13 primes. Getting closer. We're really zeroing in here on our 13 primes. Here on the back, you can see that you have Micronus himself. He transforms into a little circular disc with the Minicon symbol. And then he has the kind of larger mech suit that he can integrate into, as well as ride that mech suit as a little vehicle there, which is kind of cool. So really neat. I think this guy's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead, get him out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. So here is Micronus Prime out of the packaging. And I have to say, he's pretty small for a deluxe. I mean, if we bring in, here is a side swipe, so kind of a standard deluxe size. You can see definitely smaller. He's not quite like 86 Bumblebee, or Bumper in this case. Little taller than him, but definitely shorter than a normal deluxe. So he's definitely on the smaller side, but he's pretty cool. I do like the head sculpt. I think it's pretty basic, but it makes sense when you think about the fact that this is kind of like an exosuit. So, you know, it's not like his actual head. This is on kind of a piece that moves up and down for transformation. You can see the black piece there underneath. You can turn the side or the head from side to side. It's a little difficult to get a hold of, but it can spin from side to side. Shoulders have a swivel and hinge. I mean, you can pop these out completely because you have to do that for transformation. The only problem is because he has these pieces on the back, which is kind of funny. This is how they the wheel attaches in the vehicle mode, but it kind of looks like little helicopter blades. It looks like he's going to turn into a VTOL helicopter or something like that, but they're in the way, so like you're going to hit into the back like that. I mean, you can go kind of around them, like by going out to the side. The other thing is, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but you can see how this like forearm piece is a different color than the shoulder and the hand. And I don't know if that's yellowed or if it's a different color plastic, because like this back here is kind of the same color. So it might just be a different color plastic. I hope it's not yellowed, but I can't really tell for sure. So that is the shoulder. You have a bicep swivel here. You have 90-degree bend there at the elbow. The wrist can swivel. You don't really have anything in the torso because of the Minicon inside, but you can kick fairly decently forward, decently back before you start to hit into this apparatus. Out to the side, got a thigh swivel there. The knees are kind of interesting because of the way that like the wheel piece here, the legs become the wheel. Spoiler. But you can see how there's kind of like this like shin guard, and then there's kind of this like kneecap piece, and so that kind of moves around. But he does have knees, and then you have pretty serious ankle tilt there. So he's a cool little dude. I like him. I do wish that these could maybe bend back a little bit more and get more out of the way. Or maybe if we could have like rotated these up, maybe just like a swivel like that would have been nice, so that they're kind of here on the back instead of just hanging off back here. But it is what it is. So we can go ahead and open up the chest here. And you can see the large Minicon circle inside, so we can pop that out. Now, technically, you could close this up and have him, you know, be like a sidekick, I guess, technically. But here is the little Minicon disc. Very similar to the ones we saw in Armada, although those were kind of like a home plate shape. And this is just a circle. These kind of remind me of those discs for like the War for Cybertron's Soundwave and Blaster. But this is going to flip down like that. And then the hands are going to flip down like that. And then you can see there's a little hinge here. So that's going to flip up. So out and up. And then you can kind of bring this around. And then the head will swivel around 180. and then you can swivel the legs. And there is, I'm assuming, the actual Micronus Prime. Oop, my camera's freaking out. There we go. Pretty good little head sculpt. Nice silver paint there for the face. A nice mixture of translucent plastic and, again, this kind of yellowish green. So the head can move kind of all around. I believe that's on a tiny little ball joint. You can see it back there. So you can spin, move back to forth, back to front there. You have a ball joint here for that shoulder, so you can move that around. Ball joint for the elbow. Then you have a hinge and swivel here in the waist, or hips, I guess. And then you have a ball joint at the knee. A little bit of silver paint down there for the feet. I mean, all in all, I think he's a cool little dude. If you put him kind of next to the exosuit, you can see a little size comparison there. So technically, I guess he could like hop out, and then if you want to pretend he can like control it remotely, you could do something like that. But obviously, he's meant to go inside. But yeah, it's just kind of a cool little exosuit. I kind of like the gimmick of having the little guy ride inside. I think that's kind of fun. So I like this little guy. I think he's fun. I like the little spikes on the back. Just gives his, robot mode a little bit of character there, which I like. And I like the head sculpt a lot. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, he's pretty neat. But we can go ahead and get to the transformation here for the exoskeleton into the bike. So transformation is pretty simple. You're going to go ahead and just pop both of the arms off. And we will put them off to the side for now. We are going to go ahead and pop open the chest. And if you haven't already removed the Minicon, now would be the time to do so. We are going to pop off this little emblem here, this translucent piece of plastic that just pegs in there. We're going to put that off to the side. Technically, you're supposed to put it on his back. So there's a little connection spot right there. And I don't know if you can see, but he's got a tiny little logo there. You can see that there in the center. So we'll put that on his back and just put that over here to the side. So at this point, we're going to just rotate the head down inside like that. And you're going to pull out the whole feet section. And then you're going to fold these pieces up like so. And just kind of open these out to the side as far as they'll go. This will lift up so that you can put these down and then close this back up. Basically, they do that because you can't just swing them straight down because these pieces are in the way, so you have to do that to get clearance. But then once you have this about here, we're going to come back to the legs, and we are going to straighten them out like this so that these little clasps are pointing up. And then we're going to straighten out the legs. If you have the ankle tilt engaged, you're going to rotate this up and go like this, and you can see how that will already kind of fill that part of the wheel. This is going to kind of unhook and then come up and close into place, and that's one half of the wheel. So again, rotate this, bring this up, fill that in, bring this up, and then you want to bring this in like this because you have to pop this little tab in and then close this up, and this will, oops, I think I did this. Did I do this right? No, I think I didn't. I think this has to go down. Then we can put this in. There we go. Okay. So now we have our wheel, and it's kind of neat how the entire like waist down just transforms into this wheel. And then you're going to come here and you can see how it's got 4 connection spots on each side. And that's what these are going to connect to. So you just have to kind of line this up and peg this in, peg that in, and then secure this on the other side. So make sure that's all nice and secure. And then you can see how there's like a little tab right here, and that's going to just kind of rest in there. It doesn't peg in like super securely. It just kind of like rests in there. But that'll also kind of straighten out the wheel, because sometimes depending on how you connect this, the wheel can get a little wonky to one side or the other. but it should be able to spin pretty freely if it's all lined up correctly. So that's pretty much it for the bike, but you still have these arms. So what they want you to do is bend them at the elbow like this, and then just connect them onto the sides here. And this is supposed to kind of act like a kickstand for the bike. It's a little goofy, in my opinion, if I'm being completely honest. But there you go. And then while he's like actually driving it, these are supposed to go up and I guess act like, you know, the exhaust. But you can use them as a kickstand if you put them down like this. So we'll take our little guy, put his arms out like this so that we can connect him to the handlebars. And then just kind of bend his knees and bring him down so that he actually sits on the bike. There's no like 100% way to do it, but I kind of just about there. I feel like he's on there. He's riding it. And then you can put these back out. So he will drive his little unicycle around. It's kind of neat. At the same time, it kind of feels a little lazy, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I like the overall concept, and I want to like this more than I do, but I have to admit, getting it out of the packaging and, you know, fiddling with it, I'm a little underwhelmed. I really like the little Minicon. I think he's neat. But the whole, like, exosuit unicycle thing, I don't know. I don't know why it's not exciting me more than it is. I really wanted this to be, like, so fun. And it's not bad. It's honestly, I don't know. I can't put it into words. It's just a little underwhelming. Especially, you know, with the deluxes going up in price. And it feels like I'm just not getting that much. Maybe that's it. Because there are definitely parts that I like. I think it's really cool how the whole legs become the wheel. I really like the little Minicon. But other than that, I don't know. The whole rest of this, especially with the arms, like the arms just feel so lazy. It's just the entire arm just hanging out the back here. I mean, you can kind of put it at like a little bit of an angle, and maybe that's a little bit more exciting. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't hate it. I'm not super impressed. Now, another thing the directions show is kind of using these pieces like an armorizer. And they show that somehow you can like clip these pieces around Fireflight. That's what they show in the directions. I don't have Fireflight open yet to try that out. So I'm not really 100% sure how that is supposed to work. But if nothing else, you do have a big peg here. And so you could kind of angle these back and then maybe like peg this onto someone's back. You could do something like that, which, you know, looks kind of silly, but you could certainly do it. They also, and it makes them incredibly back heavy, of course. They also show, you know, obviously opening this back up. And the whole reason we have this little peg here is so that you could peg this onto like someone's forearm or something, I guess as like a giant shield. And then you could do something with these, where like maybe you use these as like guns or something. So maybe if I guess it won't really work with the wheel. So if I take the wheel off, you could peg these on as like guns or something. I don't know. I'll be honest. The Weaponizer thing, it never really jumped out to me as a fun play feature. I get that it does, you know, it gives you all kinds of crazy possibilities and stuff like that. Maybe I could put this here on the side of the leg, or I could pop it completely apart, you know, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. To me, the Weaponizer thing, it just never really appealed to me that much. It's a neat idea, and some people get really creative with it. And I give those people all the credit in the world because I'm just not that creative with it. But, you know, it's an idea. You could use this to give him some kind of armor or guns or something like that. And then you just have the little Minicon buddy. Maybe I could do something where, like, he's manning this gun. Could we sit him here? Maybe have him pretend to hold on. Yeah, you could do something like that. Well, hold on. Let me zoom out here. There we go. So, I mean, you can do some crazy stuff if you want, and that's kind of neat. You not the main draw for me personally, but, you know, I appreciate any additional functionality they can add into the toy. So at the end of the day, there's nothing particularly wrong with Micronus Prime. I don't know. It's just not particularly doing it for me. Like I said, he seems very small for a deluxe. The transformation is very basic, not super intricate at all. I do like the little Minicon inside. I think that's a fun gimmick. I think his transformation is pretty cool, and I like the little figure a lot. I don't know, just there's nothing particularly wrong with it. Like I said, it's just not knocking my socks off. I do really wish that there was a way, maybe just like a little hinge here or something, that you could rotate these up so they're out of the way. I don't really love the way they hang on the back there. And also just the fact that, like, you have these different shades of green. I don't know if that was intentional or if they've yellowed. Let me know if yours are that same color green and if it's intentional or not, because it just kind of, it's weird to me. It just kind of looks like they've yellowed, and I don't love that. I wish that was all the same color. So yeah, I don't really know what that's about, but yeah, just overall, I mean, he's fine. Again, there's nothing particularly wrong with him. I don't know. I'm a little underwhelmed. That's all I can really say. He's perfectly fine. He's got decent articulation. Like I said, the little Minicon inside is fun. He's got the kind of Weapon Master ability to come apart and become armor for other characters, which is neat. But, I don't know. He just, little lackluster for me. If you think I'm crazy, let me know in the comments below if you love this guy. And again, maybe he is from a comic and 100% accurate to the comic. And if that's the case, I apologize. I haven't read a lot of those IDW comics concerning the primes, so I could be completely missing out, and maybe they 100% nailed it. That's very possible. And like I said, I'm not bashing this guy by any means. I think it's a really fun idea. I just think it could have been executed a little better, especially having those arms just hang off the back in vehicle mode feels a little lazy to me. But again, there are parts of it I really like, and overall, I'm happy to have him in the collection. I just think he could be a little better. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.